This is Valley News Live at noon.
We begin with breaking news as the Jamestown Police Department have now identified the body found Friday at a motel in Jamestown. Authorities say 50-year-old Sabrina Grisham of Knoxville, Tennessee, was found in the parking lot of the Two Rivers in East Jamestown around 11:15 in the morning on Friday. An autopsy is scheduled to determine the cause of death. A large drug bust ends with 4 people placed in jail following to separate drug investigations. Cass County Sheriff's Office says it happened on December 29th after investigators executed a search warrant at a residence in Pine River, Minnesota, following an ongoing drug investigation. Deputies say large amounts of methamphetamines, along with drug paraphernalia and ammunition, were seized. 61-year-old Teresa Hill and 58-year-old Walter Hill were both taken into custody. Now, in the second investigation on January 7th, investigators executed a search warrant at another residence in Pine River, Minnesota. Deputies say a large amount of methamphetamine, marijuana, and other drug paraphernalia were seized. 43-year-old Teresa Mead and 49-year-old William Samantha were both arrested. The Fargo Police Department wants to alert the community to a high-risk sex offender now living in the area. 26-year-old Damian Orton is currently living at 734 College Street South North in Fargo. Orton was convicted of sexual imposition on December 29, 2014 in Burleigh County District Court. When Orton was 19 years old, he asked a 14-year-old female runaway who was intoxicated and on drugs to have sex. When she said no, he held her down and had intercourse with her. Well, for January, the weather really does feel quite pleasant. Doesn't look that way, but it kind of felt that way. But is it here to stay much longer? Let's check in with meteorologist Lisa Green and see what's going on with the sky cam.
Well, good afternoon. We've got some very different conditions depending on where you are in the valley. First off, this is in Devil's Lake at the home of economy there. You can see how low our visibility is in that area. We've got some fog yet again that's taken over in this area and really brought down that visibility in that location. Now I'm going to switch to our sky cam in Fargo at the station on our tower. And you can see we've got blue sky. So it's very different, again, from some of us in the north to some of us in the south. Here it depends on where you are, what you are experiencing. We've got those clear skies and sunshine right now in Fargo-Moorhead. Here's a look at our visibility. Again, Devil's Lake is a trouble spot for fog and up toward Langdon. We're looking at a quarter-mile visibility specifically in that area. Some gray skies and clouds in Grand Forks and visibility down to 6 miles there. Elsewhere, we are seeing, again, that blue sky in the south and west. And temperatures are mild, at least. We're into the 20s to about 32 degrees in Jamestown, 33 in Sisseton. It's 27 in Fargo. So here's a look at our visible satellite picture and our radar. Where you see the movement of the gray, those are the clouds that are moving by. There is the snowpack as well in place, so it can be tough to make out. Have to really look for the movement going on there in our loop. And then there are a couple of flakes trying to fall around the Bemidji area, dropping to the southeast. I haven't had any reports of flurries, but the potential is there as this continues to work its way southward. So today, variable cloudiness, some of us enjoying sunshine and other places again stuck with the fog and the cloud cover. Temperatures will be mild. We're talking 20s and 30s through the rest of the afternoon. And some changes coming up in the forecast. Winter weather makes a comeback coming up this week. I'll have details on that in just a couple of minutes.
The sky cam looks different in the different places because I thought that first sky cam, I was like, is that Fargo? I could have swore it looked really, really nice outside. Then you switched it over and I was like, oh, okay. It just depends on where you are. Thanks again, Lisa. A fugitive wanted for kidnapping an Oregon girl has been arrested in North Dakota. Police in Beulah, which is in Mercer County, got a tip on Friday about a woman who was wanted for kidnapping a 7-year-old girl in Oregon and was trying to get to Canada. Beulah Police, Mercer County Sheriff's deputies, and U.S. Marshals executed a search warrant on a Beulah home and found both the woman and child. The girl has been safely returned to her family. The parents of a 3-year-old found dead in a St. Paul home yesterday are now in jail for murder. Police say the father called the police department's non-emergency number early yesterday morning and said something about needing a crisis officer before hanging up. When officers arrived, the father told them his daughter was on the back porch. Police found the girl unconscious and unresponsive. The backlash from the assault on the Capitol has knocked out an online forum used to spread far-right extremist viewpoints. Amazon suspended Parler from its web hosting service overnight, saying violent content on the site violated its terms of service. Apple and Google had already moved to cut off Parler, and the company's CEO says the site may be dark indefinitely. Anna Warner looks at some of the messages that got Parler in trouble.
Before, during, and even after the violent attack on the Capitol, the social media site Parler was a megaphone for Trump supporters. We need to start systematically assassinating liberal leaders, read one post. In another now deleted message posted the day after the attack, pro-Trump lawyer Lynn Wood called for Vice President Pence's execution, writing, "Get the firing squads ready. Pence goes first." Kevin Roos is a tech columnist for the New York Times.
These are things that mainstream social networks have policies against. And so if you got kicked off Twitter for saying them, a lot of the time your next step was to make a Parler account and just move your followers over there.
Over the weekend, Amazon became the latest tech giant to notify Parler it was suspending its account. Asked for comment, Amazon directed us to this email obtained by BuzzFeed News. In it, an Amazon Web Services safety team told Parler, "Recently we've seen a steady increase in violent content on your website, all of which violates our terms."
Do you think this is the end of Parler?
I think losing your App Store privileges and losing your web host is about as close to a kiss of death as you can get in the world of apps.
In a phone interview with Fox News, Parler CEO John Mates defended the platform and said Amazon's move could put the company out of business.
It's obvious collusion, and they're doing it, to stifle free speech and competition in the marketplace. And this could happen to literally anybody.
Amazon's decision comes after both Apple and Google banned Parler from their app stores. Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram have also suspended President Trump's accounts, citing the risk of further incitement of violence. The moves prompted criticism from Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, who tweeted, "Silencing speech is dangerous. It's un-American." But Roos says
it's not like these people just got banned from these platforms because they, said something mean or called someone a name. I mean, there was bloodshed. This is real violence, and there may be more to come.
Late last night, Parler's CEO said the site will likely be offline longer than anticipated because other vendors have also dropped them in the wake of those companies' actions. Anna Werner, CBS News, San Francisco.
A pro-Trump demonstration is expected to be held at Twitter headquarters later today, even though many of the company's employees are working from home. A North Dakota man is among nearly 70 people arrested so far in Washington, D.C. after last week's riot at the U.S. Capitol. 57-year-old Timothy Osford of Cavalier was arrested on a curfew violation less than a mile from the Capitol early Thursday morning. Now, the mayor of Washington, D.C. ordered a citywide curfew overnight after rioting by pro-Trump extremists Wednesday afternoon. On Wednesday, 5 people died, including a D.C. police officer. A COVID vaccine means the end is near, but we still need to be cautious. And the state of Minnesota has a new way to let people know they've been in contact with someone who tested positive. The update for COVID Aware is available for Minnesota iPhone users that have an iOS setting of 12.5 and higher. You will then get a notification about this opt-in service. This notification tells the users they can now turn on their COVID Aware exposure notifications using their phone settings without ever having to download the app. Governor Walz calls this app a powerful and anonymous tool that will help stop the spread of COVID-19. It uses random keys with the user's phones that changes every 10 to 20 minutes, but will never track the user's physical locations. Health experts say the more people that download or enable this tool, the more effective it will be. Well, coming up at noon, New Year's resolutions are starting to look digital. More on that in just a few minutes. But first, let's check out the weather for our lunch commute. Meteorologist Lisa Green has what you are looking for.